Hi guys, welcome back to Underwater Astrology, giving you the best astrology report from the bottom of the ocean, otherwise known as the bottom of my heart. This week we're looking at October 26th to November 2nd. Happy Halloween. We have Halloween on the 31st. So that's the Tuesday, so I could imagine people celebrating on the 28th if you have children on the 29th on the Sunday, because the younger trick-or-treaters always go on a Sunday, although I don't know if people still really trick-or-treat anymore after Corona. But I think people do trick-or-treat. So happy, beautiful transition from, we were in Libra season, now we're in Scorpio season, right? So we have the sun in Scorpio moving steady a degree a day this week. And we have the same with Mercury. Pretty much all personal planets are moving a degree a day. The moon, we don't talk about the moon this week. But sun in Scorpio. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to Underwater Astrology, giving you the best astrology from the bottom of the ocean, otherwise known as the bottom of my heart. I already did the introduction, so we'll use that one. Aries rising. The sun in Scorpio is transiting your 8th house. Yes, this week, be careful of trusting people too quickly. Right? We just had the new moon about 14 days ago in Libra transiting your 7th house. So that was telling me you guys put new intentions with relationships. The full moon is weeks ahead of us at the end of October on October 28th, 2023 in Taurus. Telling me that it's important that you need to realize that when the full moon does go in Taurus, this will be in your 2nd house. Jupiter will be in retrograde. Uranus will be in retrograde in your 2nd house, revising how you think of yourself. Aries rising. So are you guys ready to have a deep character development and spiritual growth this Scorpio season? Scorpio and Aries square. So there's a lot of spiritual growth here with intimacy. Sometimes you're going too fast. Sometimes you're going too slow. To be honest, there's no perfect way of going, but always letting the other respond is a good start. For example, not rushing is better than rushing into something. And always letting the other person say exactly what their intention is so needed. No matter if this is women together, men together, women and men, non-binary together, all genders need to realize that it's so important to have balance in your relationships. And with intimacy here, Scorpio and transiting your 8th house, you could be so intense about someone. And Mercury here and Mars here in a stellium in your 8th house, telling me that Sun and Mercury are conjuncting. Sun, Mercury, and Mars are all conjuncting in Scorpio. Telling me you guys are really able to see the layers of someone's psyche. Yeah, you're missing the whole point that they need to respond in communication to give you the green light to access the longevity of the relationship. With Venus and Virgo transiting your 6th house, this is what it's going to point to with love and beauty, the planet of love and beauty transiting your 6th house. How can we make this more practical? Okay. Pragmatism. Venus and Virgo is the survivalist. How are you being practical about your routine, your health, and your work environment? Jupiter and Taurus transiting your 2nd house in retrograde. How do you fill up your self-esteem when there's doubt? Uranus in retrograde. How do I develop my spirit to understand character growth in times when I'm not validated, when I so need to be validated? How do you validate yourself with that value system with Taurus in your 2nd house? With the full moon approaching, it tells me with the inconjunct of the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, in conjuncting the full moon in Taurus, October 28th, there's going to be this feeling of, I need to shift my relationship with myself to realize that I am inherently valued by myself, but I might not be valued in other relationships. And that's beautiful because maybe later on they'll value me more. It's the rush of the fire with Aries, the cardinal. You're starting the fire, you're lighting the candle, but some relationships are blowing out the candle, but they get relit. And that's the whole process of Aries, is that you have a candle that never goes out. It's the candles with relationships that go out. And you have to realize how to say bye to people who are not ready here. Aries rising. For some of you, it could be more about spiritual growth with other people's resources, realizing that you're getting to, so Scorpio is like the investigator, right? So when Sun is in Scorpio, that tells me that you're investigating how to develop more income. You're in tune with the frequency of money and how to manifest it. And this week, the energy is there for the investigator, whether it be finding a banking system that's more for you, or finding a lender for a house, or finding a financial plan to make ends meet, or working with the government to find ways to survive. Aries rising, this is the week when the universe is on your side, here to provide you abundance with other people's resources. There are no retrogrades. Sun cannot go in retrograde. Mercury is not in retrograde. Venus is not in retrograde. Mars is not in retrograde. So you have the perfect alignment to move forward. When things aren't working out with intimate relationships, try to find the balance in understanding that there are other relationships in your aspects of your life sector that need to be balanced with. Full moon is approaching us in 2 days. For Aries rising, the full moon's in 2 days. This week, October 28th. Full moon in Taurus. For Taurus rising, the full moon's October 28th, 2 days after the week starts. The full moon is the Saturday. So it's important that you understand what's going on. When the full moon is transiting your sign, you guys need to be out getting seen some way. Maybe you guys are illuminated some aspect about your first house to be seen. Some of you are going through spiritual development and character development so that you can be seen in your developing of character here, Taurus rising. And for Aries rising, I forgot to say that the full moon will be illuminating something to do with your second house, about your value system. So maybe you guys are valuing yourself more, and by the full moon, you realize you're rushing some relationships and that some things need to slow down. So by the full moon, you're like, wait, we're going too fast. Let's slow down. I actually love, like, valuing myself, and that's really deep for me. For Taurus rising, the sun in Scorpio is transiting your 7th house. Okay? Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your 7th house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your 5th house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your 7th house. Jupiter in Taurus here transiting your 1st house, with Uranus here transiting your 1st house in retrograde. Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus are both in retrograde, and the full moon is approaching. Oh, I'm so sorry. The full moon is approaching us in 2 days. For Aries rising, the full moon's in 2 days. This week, October 28th. Full moon in Taurus. For Taurus rising, the full moon's October 28th, 2 days after the week starts. The full moon is the Saturday. So it's important that you understand what's going on. When the full moon is transiting your sign, you guys need to be out getting seen some way. Maybe you guys are illuminated some aspect about your first house to be seen. Some of you are going through spiritual development and character development so that you can be seen in your developing of character here, Taurus rising. For Taurus rising, maybe some people are seeing aspects of your soul that really needed to be seen, that make you feel seen, heard, felt, and understood. For Gemini rising, it's so important to realize the sun in Scorpio is transiting your 6th house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your 6th house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your 4th house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your 6th house. And Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 12th house. Same here with Uranus. You're transiting your 12th house. And Jupiter and Uranus are both in retrograde in your 12th house. There's a full moon happening in Taurus 2 days after the week starts. And that's happening on Saturday. So right as we approach Halloween weekend here at Gemini rising, we have a full moon in Taurus. So it's not weird that we're harvesting a bunch of candy and we're accessing all this candy on the full moon. Taurus loves good quality food. So what I see with this horoscope Gemini rising is that Scorpio and Gemini are in conjunction. So a lot of you guys are just cruising through this week, developing better habits with the Scorpio stellium in your 6th house. And you're harvesting a lot of things, whether it be you harvesting candy this weekend or you just having abundance of fun, because Jupiter in Taurus is in your 12th, Uranus is in Taurus in your 12th, telling me that you guys are really just going through like this experience of understanding your subconscious mind and higher love to really get to a place where you feel like you can be just in the ease of life. I mean, Jupiter in Taurus in retrograde is character development, so much so that you realize who you are in deep levels of your subconscious, but you have to go through some character development. Maybe before this transit, you were going through some harder times. Now Jupiter's entered your 12th house in Taurus. You really have to have a sense of pride in how you develop your character. Jupiter in Taurus transiting your 12th house retrograde, Gemini rising, is character development. Uranus retrograde in Taurus transiting your 12th house is very much spiritual development. So, and inner growth, but really spiritual development. Full moon in Taurus transiting your 12th house on the Saturday, telling me that you guys really are having this beautiful semi-sextile of the full moon. Something is illuminated of your subconscious mind. Something that's pointing to higher love. How could we get into higher love? So many of us in our lives subconsciously, when we don't do the character development and the spiritual development, there are aspects of our psyche that still carry fear. But when we just choose love quickly, everything kind of falls away and you soften and you open up. And this is beyond the physique. With the 12th house, it's entering a space of spirituality, so much so that your physical body, what you look like, doesn't matter. And I could totally see this full moon just transforming you guys so deeply that you guys are just so ready to be seen because you're so spiritually aligned, Gemini rising. For Cancer rising, the sun in Scorpio is transiting your 5th house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your 5th house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your 3rd house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your 5th house, and Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 11th house. So for Cancer rising, Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 11th house in retrograde, and Uranus is in Taurus transiting your 11th house in retrograde. The full moon is in Taurus October 28th, 2 days at the start of the week, and that is happening on the 28th of October on the Saturday, telling me it's a great time to get candy. It's a great time to celebrate Halloween, but it's also just a great time to realize that you guys are really going through some serious character development with your social circle. Like, Uranus in retrograde here is telling me like people are leaving your social circle and people who are on your frequency are entering your social circle. Jupiter in Taurus in retrograde transiting your 11th house is telling me that you guys have to learn to keep looking for the people who are on your frequency and not get caught up in being alone. And getting, oh no, like I feel lonely, I'm going to stay home and not socialize. You got to keep looking for people on your wavelength, because it's important to realize that with all this Taurus energy, the earth is shifting, and it's really important to create intimacy with people at this time, to realize you were there for them during these times of such pivotal change. So the full moon in Taurus transiting your 11th house could illuminate something about your social circle and where you want to be, like your aspirations. Cancer and Scorpio is a sextile. So there will be a lot of energy towards bringing together people in your love life, coming together, romantic partners, children if you have any, creative processes this week. This is a great week to just get your creative juices going. Get into the creative flow, Cancer rising. Get in the creative terrain. Venus and Virgo is transiting your third house, telling me it's going to be so about placing emphasis on the practicality of communication to really organize and alleviate stress with your love life or your children if you have any. And that's my horoscope for you this week, Cancer rising. For Leo rising, Sun in Scorpio is transiting your fourth house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your fourth house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your second house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your fourth house. And Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 10th house in retrograde. So Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 10th house in retrograde. Uranus is in Taurus transiting your 10th house in retrograde. And the full moon in Taurus is illuminating your 10th house because it's transiting your 10th house. So for Leo rising, Leo and Scorpio's a square, so there will be spiritual growth this week about understanding the complexities and the many masks of your soul tribe. Some of you really think you're in a soul tribe, but there are so many masks. Some of you may think you're in a soul tribe, but there are so many masks and things that you have to work through to really see people's character. And that is the patience. With Scorpio, you have to be patient. Scorpio is not the first sign I'd go to if you wanted quick, true intimacy. Scorpio is probably the last sign I'd choose because it takes years of development to have a healthy relationship with a Scorpio that lasts long. If you're rushing into it, it could be confusing. Okay? That's the relationship between Leo and Scorpio. It's a square. It's spiritual growth. Jupiter's in Taurus transiting your 10th house in retrograde, and Uranus is in Taurus transiting your 10th house in retrograde. Jupiter is in Taurus transiting your 10th house in retrograde, telling me you guys are going through character development in your career and your public persona. Maybe a lot of you guys are going to be deemed a lot more successful by the end of this year with this Jupiter in Taurus retrograde. I see you guys being so respected and so highly valued that people just start wanting to pay you more. People start wanting to listen to you more. People start valuing more. And you get put in higher places a lot quickly. It's not about getting everyone's validation here, Leo rising. It's about getting the right people's validation. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Taurus is an earth sign, so you have to be practical about what you desire in your career to manifest this in real life 3D vision. Uranus is in retrograde in Taurus here, transiting your 10th house, telling me that for the spiritual development of your career, you're going to have to understand there are limits even with Uranus, because if you're too chaotic and crazy in your career, nobody is going to want to look up to you. Nobody is going to want to sit you down and have a conversation and hear what you have to say. You have to learn to level your mind, and even though you're getting those higher frequencies with your public persona and your career development, you have to realize that what are you actually applying it to? Emptying out the trust tank or filling it up with a lot of hope and expansion. And that's what I see for this week for Leo rising. The full moon is transiting your 10th house, telling me that you will go through some illumination on the Saturday of the 28th of October to illuminate some part of your career development that's needed to expand. And this is really excited. I'm really excited for you, Leo rising. For Virgo rising, the sun in Scorpio is transiting your third house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your third house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your first house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your third house. Jupiter's in Taurus in retrograde, transiting your ninth house. Uranus is in Taurus, transiting your ninth house in retrograde. And of course, the full moon is in Taurus, transiting your ninth house on the Saturday of October the 28th, 2 days into the week. this astrology week. So for Virgo rising, I see this week being a lot about communication, just getting things out there, getting things in the open to get the pot stirring. So many of you might have been having stagnancy because you were so focused on your value system that you didn't really communicate as much. But when we go into Scorpio season like we are in now, it's about communicating and sharing what you know, because when you share, it's so truthful and so helpful. Venus in Virgo is transiting your first house, telling me you don't have time to be nitpicky about how you look. This is about getting out and being seen. And we can all learn through you, Virgo rising, because you guys, the more careless you guys are as Virgos and Virgo risings are both, the more the other zodiac signs feel free to let go. So you guys are the leaders in being a little bit more carefree this week, and that really does set a trend. Jupiter's in Taurus transiting your 9th house in retrograde, telling me that you guys are going to be in revision about some kind of character development with your belief system so that you could be more open to accepting God's gifts of wherever He has in store for you, whether it be higher education, long distance travel, or working with different groups of people. Uranus is in retrograde, transiting your 9th house in retrograde in Taurus, telling me that you guys are going through spiritual development with an inner growth with your belief system, which is a very personal experience. Maybe you guys have experienced some things that have altered how you believe things to be and how you believe things can be. And that's really inspiring. And this week you have the energy to talk about it and share about it. Full moon is in Taurus, transiting your 9th house on the Saturday, October 28th, 2023, 2 days into the week. And that's telling me something about your belief system is going to be illuminated. Maybe it be long distance travel. Maybe you're invited to do a long distance trip. Maybe some of you are invited to attend a school or a seminar. And that's really exciting, Virgo rising. For Libra rising, the Sun in Scorpio is transiting your 2nd house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your 2nd house. Venus is in Virgo, transiting your 12th house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your 2nd house. And Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 8th house in retrograde. Uranus is in Taurus, transiting your 8th house in retrograde. So that's really exciting. And then the full moon is in Taurus on the Saturday, October 28th, 2023, transiting your 8th house in Taurus. 2 days into the week. So Libra rising, this week is about adapting a stronger value system to really feel focused and passionate about what you need to survive. With Scorpio in the 2nd house, it's telling me you guys probably need to get in nature and understand the more holier aspects of your value system. For some of you, it's really understanding that this week can be spooky with Venus and Virgo transiting your 12th house, showing me that you could be illuminated something about your subconscious mind with Venus and Virgo, or you're doing something that could be unraveling. Just stop unraveling things and let them be. Because that Mars and Scorpio transiting your 2nd house is saying, okay, maybe I feel a bit powerless in my love situation or my love life, but maybe there's something else I can focus on that empowers me. Maybe it's a cause, or maybe it's an activist group that you can lend a hand to, and that really helps balance things here, Libra rising, as the zodiac's balancer, the harmonizer. I like to call Libra and Libra risings are both the harmonizers. Jupiter's in Taurus in retrograde, transiting your 8th house, telling me that you guys are going to be working through a revision of how you relate to other people. And also with your resources and intimate relationships, you're going through character development. A lot of you need to just openly trust people to expand. And even with Uranus in retrograde here, transiting your 8th house in Taurus, it's telling me you guys are needing to go through some spiritual development of truly understanding that you can't just eliminate people out of your life because they're annoying. You have to work through the problems. I think it's about understanding that as a Libra rising, you guys are, your symbol is the balance beam, so it is about understanding there may be insecurities with your resources, but that doesn't mean you can take it out on other people in negative ways with that Uranus retrograde in your 8th house. So I just want you guys to think about ways of just opening up more spiritually to other people and trusting them and letting them in, so that that more eccentric side of cutting people off is softened so that you can learn to trust people more. And the full moon in Taurus transiting your 8th house on that Saturday, October 28th, 2023 is telling me that it's really about understanding that you are empowered by other people. It's just about choosing who you're empowered by. And that's what I feel like this full moon in Taurus will illuminate for you, Libra rising. And the 8th house will be an illumination in Taurus, telling me that you guys are fixed about some assets that you have. You have to keep them fixed. Or some relationships you have to keep fixed. But remember everything I said about those retrogrades. Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus in retrograde. For Scorpio rising, Sun in Scorpio is transiting your 1st house. Mercury in Scorpio is transiting your 1st house. Venus in Virgo is transiting your 11th house. Mars in Scorpio is transiting your 1st house. And Jupiter in Taurus is transiting your 7th house. Okay, Scorpio rising. This week is simple. You guys have a lot of 1st house energy. This is about getting seen, felt, and understood, getting out and getting your energy recognized. Whether that being running through the park or, really feeling like you have time to do grocery shopping. I mean, with all this 1st house energy, it could be so minimal. It doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, obviously be careful because the times are different now, Scorpio rising. It's not a time where I'd say, hey, it's Halloween weekend. I want everyone to go party. I mean, it's 2023. I think I feel a lot different. I mean, watching a horror movie at home is much safer with a best friend or alone, or even watching any kind of movie of Halloween essence is great. I mean, this week, Scorpio, you really got game, though, because you got a 1st house stellium. And then also you have a Scorpio stellium. Venus is in Virgo, transiting your 11th house, telling me that you guys got to pay attention to your social circle. Remember, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Venus does balance that Martian energy. So tapping into your social circle, what's up? Getting socializing with them is really important. Jupiter in Taurus is in retrograde, transiting your 7th house. And Uranus is in Taurus, transiting your 7th house in retrograde, telling me that you guys are going through some kind of character development with expansion with your relationships. You are realizing in order to attract the people you want, you're going to have to go through some character development to attain that success. And that's not saying that you can't attain the people you want to attain. It's saying that you have to realize that in order to get those business partnerships you want, you have to go through some kind of character development. You have to realize that people want to see character. They don't want to see a villain. They don't necessarily want to see a huge hero either. They just want to see a good character, a good, faithful character I could trust, And that's the kind of energy I'm seeing this week for Scorpio. And with Uranus in retrograde here in the 7th house, it's telling me that you guys may be feeling heightened wavelengths of eradicating relationships. Again, be careful with that whole eradication process with Uranus because you guys are not the same or you guys are of a different religion. Really learn how to really understand that relationships are given from God to teach us lessons, and some are bad and some are good, but don't go as low as some of the people you know that are around you. The full moon is in Taurus, transiting your 7th house on October 28th, 2023 on the Saturday, telling me that